everybody, and welcome to the Bob Stoops app. Week 3, Brad McMullen along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. Coach, looking at Week 2, a lot of craziness in college football, but Oklahoma found a way to win.
Yeah, there is always something to that. I know no one out there in the Sooner fans want to hear that, but when you cannot play your best and win, it still matters. And but they know they've got a lot to keep working on and to get better at. I'm not an excuse maker, but all the shuffling of O-linemen and having 4 of your top receivers out does not help, and that needs to be acknowledged. But they have to be able to overcome it, and they're going to have to play a lot better this week.
Yeah, team coming to town, Tulane. This is a good football team, won over 20 games over the last 2 years. Last week they played number 14 Kansas State and really dominated that game. Nearly 600 yards of offense. They did it on the ground, and they also did it in the air.
They have a strong culture, a good program. They almost came in here a few years ago and beat us. So in the end, we need to pick it up and need to be able to run the football, protect the quarterback, get some deep balls, big plays downfield. Defense continue to do what they've been doing, getting turnovers. But we're going to have to play a good game.
Yeah, defense was able to make things happen. That amazing safety at the end of the game, rising up to the challenge. You got to love that, a D lineman making the biggest play of the game.
Absolutely, and you don't know what's going to happen. They could have kicked a field goal to win the game, but now they have to have a touchdown. That's a different story. So to come up with a play like that at the end of the game to help seal it, it is a big deal, and the defense has been really coming up with those plays.
Yeah, 2:30 is kickoff right here at the Palace on the Prairie. Of course, we're a week away from the Tennessee Volunteers coming to town. It'll be the first SEC contest. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, really exciting, here in the coming weeks. Tennessee coming to town, for, as you said, first SEC game. It's going to be really, I expect our stadium to be electric, and it'll be exciting.
Yeah, ABC has already selected it as the game of the week. It'll be the primetime game nationally on ABC as well. All right, let's talk about some other Week 3 matchups. Arizona versus Kansas State, who did beat Tulane. Kansas State favored by 7 at home.
Yeah, Kansas State, again, narrowly escaping Tulane. At Tulane, though, so you got to give them credit. They do a heck of a job there, so I'm going to take Kansas State. I haven't seen much on Arizona yet. They seem to be playing well. They recruited well the last several years, so Kansas State will have to keep it up and play well.
Yeah, I think close early on, but I like what you're thinking. Home team, the success, and of course the consistency of Kansas State. I like them winning that game. Alabama, Wisconsin. 2 weeks ago, everybody thought Alabama was the greatest team in the world. They also struggled on Saturday to South Florida. It was a one-score game late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's interesting. You just think of the coaching turnover. But they have great players. They've recruited so well. They've got a great coach. But, I like what Wisconsin does, the way they play. Where's the game again?
It is at Wisconsin.
At Wisconsin. That'll be different for Alabama up there. And it's hard to pick against Alabama, though. So I'm going to go with Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama, I like them winning the game. 16 points seems about right. I think Alabama can cover that, but wouldn't be surprised if Wisconsin kept it close. All right, LSU, a team with all this excitement going into the season, ran into the buzzsaw there in Las Vegas against USC. They're now on the road at South Carolina. They are favored by 7 points, but boy, South Carolina, week 1, they looked awful. Last week against Kentucky, they looked great. Yeah, I'm going to go with South Carolina at home. That's going to juice them up the way they played against Kentucky. They played really well. And, they got to be licking their chops that now to play LSU, it's showed some weaknesses, and they've showed strengths. Now it's our time. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the home team there. Yeah, I think the game's going to be closer than 7, especially with all those injuries that LSU has suffered over the last few weeks. South Carolina home looks good with the points. All right, Oklahoma State at Tulsa. OSU minus 18. You think of Arkansas last week. The first 3 quarters, OSU did not look good, but they found a way to win the ball game.
Again, you got to give people credit when they find ways to win when they're not at their best. I said that earlier about OU. I mean it against Oklahoma State. And, I like what their quarterback's playing really well. Yeah. And Ollie Gordon, even though they didn't run it well against Arkansas, but I love Kevin Wilson and what they're doing, but I don't know that Tulsa's D-line and defense is going to be what Arkansas's D-line was. So I think Ollie Gordon will get loose more and start to pick things up. So I don't want to pick against I'll say it's going to be closer than that. But
there you go.
But so I don't like to pick against my friends. Well, I like Mike Gundy's as good a friend as I have too. So anyway, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State, but I think it'll be tighter than that.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State's going to find a way to make this happen. I think getting the ball to Ollie Gordon late in the game where he made the play he had to make to get them the win, I think pushes them over the top. And I think a lot of people underestimated Arkansas last week. This was a team that had a lot of talent, recruited really well in the portal. They were ready to play that game. I think Oklahoma State just showed people that they're in it for the long haul there in the Big 12. All right, Boston College at Missouri. Both teams ranked because Boston College beat Florida State. Missouri favored by a lot in this one, 16 points.
I think it'll be definitely closer than that. I love Boston College has showed a lot of strength here early on in the season. Missouri has been good, but I just have been impressed with what Boston College is doing. And the new regime there, they're doing a heck of a job. So Tim Lewis is the defensive coordinator, worked with us at the Arlington Renegades. So we got a lot of confidence in him. He's their D coordinator. So anyway, I just think it'll be tighter than that, but Missouri will win.
And look at Bill O'Brien and how he was able to establish the line of scrimmage for Boston College against FSU, which arguably on paper had one of the best defensive lines in the country. You wouldn't have known that if you saw that game.
Now, he's an excellent, not just head coach, but offensive coach, and knows what he's doing, and I think that'll make somewhat of a difference.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach, on that game. All right, Oregon State, the Civil War usually played at the end of the year because of all of this alignment with new conferences forming. This is a big deal right now. Both teams undefeated. One team that hasn't looked good the first 2 weeks, the Oregon Ducks.
That is going to be interesting, and you got to give it to Oregon State with being, I don't know, do they even have a league? What do they claim?
Yeah, it's the Pac-12, which expanded today, by the way. Remember, so you got Fresno State, Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State now joining Washington State. And
they need a couple more, though, to be legitimate.
They do.
But anyway, give it to Oregon State and their coaching staff. I mean, doing a heck of a job. And I look for them to cover that, or not Oregon to cover, but Oregon State to play them tight. And for whatever reasons, Oregon hasn't been, quite as sharp as we thought they were going to be.
I agree with you. And again, this is at Oregon State. I think if this was in Eugene, I would like Oregon in this game a lot. 16 points in a rivalry game, especially with a team that has not looked so good on the defensive side of the ball. I like that pick as well. Again, Oregon State at home. All right, Georgia at Kentucky. Georgia favored by a lot. 24 points, but they are the #1 team in the country for a reason.
Well, I got to think my brothers will cover that.
There you go.
Played a really poor game last week. Give it to South Carolina. Played an excellent game and beat them at Kentucky. Beat them well. So, Georgia always strong, but I look for Kentucky to have something to show a little bit. And to play it tighter than that.
Yeah, going to be a big regrouping and, of course, a very big challenge. Not just any SEC, the #1 team in the SEC and the #1 team in the nation in the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, Notre Dame at Purdue. A Notre Dame team that a lot of people had a lot of excitement over when they beat Texas A&M. Then they fell flat in week number 2. Now they're a 10-point favorite on the road at Purdue. And this is a Purdue team that is known for pulling the upset.
Yeah, that's interesting, and so close in Indiana. Right. There, the two schools. Purdue. Notre Dame just showed more weakness than I would have thought at home, losing to Northern Illinois. So I'm going to go with Purdue playing tighter than that, if not beating them.
Yeah, that should be exciting. And again, we're going to learn a lot about Notre Dame, how they can regroup, and if that quarterback can play much better than he did last week. All right, moving on. Washington State. Washington, the Apple Cup. Washington at home, only favored by 4.5 in this one.
Yeah, I'd like them to continue to play well, though. They got good players. Jed Fish, their coach, coming in from Arizona, has done a really good job, really strong offensive coach. So I'm going to go with them being at home, winning that.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of points. 4.5 points at home. I like Washington this one. Again, just a year removed from the national championship game. All right, Texas A&M at Florida. Both of these teams desperately need a win. Texas A&M favored by 3 points. I kind of like A&M in this game.
Yeah, I want to say that, but I can't. Those 3 years with Coach Spurrier, being a Gator, I want to see him rebound and come back. And hopefully some of those flaws that A&M showed against Notre Dame, and we saw Notre Dame isn't a juggernaut, that maybe they show up again and the Gators can get on track and get a win at home. I'm always rooting for coaches that are struggling at home. Yeah, you want them to get off that hot seat a little bit anyway and win that game.
Yeah, and if they don't win that game, look at the schedule. Florida, whew, it gets even worse after this week. All right, Colorado at Colorado State. Primetime Deion Sanders has brought the people to the television sets. He's sold out at Colorado. He's now going on the road. You remember all of the drama around this game last year, and Colorado State played them tight. Colorado
really
State
well.
Is an underdog by 7 points at home.
Yeah, I think they're going to play the heck out of them. I love what Jay Norvell's doing there. I just think when it gets down to it, guys like Travis Hunter, which even in the first week showed when you're not playing up to maybe the same talent levels, just shows up a little bit more. When you got a guy on the field as much as he is, and Sanders, their quarterback, I really like too. They're just going to make enough plays that they're going to win. But I like Colorado State to have another dogfight with them.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, this is a must-win if you're Colorado, because you talk about momentum, improvement from year over year. They really, really need this game, and have been an in-state rival where all that talk was from last year. They have to have this one on the road.
Yeah, that's definitely. There'll be a lot of pressure for that, but being on the road will be different.
Yep.
And Colorado State's had it circled.
Yep.
So I look for Colorado State to play them well, but I just think some of the key players are so
Colorado
talented
has more talent
that they're gonna end up showing it like happened in the first game.
Yeah, and a lot of question marks going in for Colorado State this year was they lost a lot of talent from last year's team. If you watch the Texas team play them earlier, you know that they missed them dearly. All right, final game to talk about, UCF at TCU. These are two undefeated Big 12 teams. UCF favored by 2 points in this one.
And it's at
TCU.
At TCU. I'm going to go with TCU at home. Just believe at home, being at home matters. They're undefeated too. They got something to prove. Both coaches are excellent coaches, but I know Sonny Dykes a little bit better, so I'm going to go with TCU.
There you go. A lot of excitement on these two teams because I really think one of these teams could be in the college football playoff with 12 teams. So something to watch on Saturday. A lot of great games out there. Of course, we hope Oklahoma beats Tulane. Remember, for videos anytime, just tap on our video link. For Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops, I'm Brad McMullen.